Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money and Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage. We're in the studio here with our favorite realtor, Dawn Fitzpatrick. And when we cut to the third and final commercial break, we asked this trivia question. What two chemical elements comprise water? Robert, you have the answer.
2 parts Hydrox and 1 part Oreo.
That's it. That's a very hungry piece of water there. Yes, of course it is. Hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. That was an easy one. And before we get to Mark with his articles here, there was something I found that's kind of interesting. It's questions that will change the way you think about the world. How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are?
I love that one. That's my favorite one.
Isn't that a good one? I guess it's how old do you feel, right? Good. Okay, and then this one's actually for Mark. Would you be willing to reduce your life expectancy by 10 years to become extremely attractive or famous? Now, Mark, you're already extremely attractive.
And getting famous.
Yeah, so the answer to the question is, would you reduce it 5 years for the famous part?
The answer could be if you live long enough.
That's true.
That's
okay.
just silly.
That
I feel
is
sad for people who answer yes to that one.
Okay. Let me get into just a couple more here because they're sort of fun. Okay. Which is worse, failing or never trying?
Never trying.
Never
You have to fail lots and lots of times to succeed.
Edison, what was it, 2000 before the light bulb came on? Okay. When it's all said and done, will you have said more than you've done?
More than likely.
More than likely. Are you doing what you believe in, or are you settling for what you are doing? It's all philosophically.
Don't play small ball with your life. Not really.
Small ball. That's baseball term.
It is.
It means a lot of hit and run, stealing. Okay. To what degree have you actually controlled the course your life has taken? Okay. Are you more worried about doing things right or doing the right things? This is a moral show, you know.
We're working on a personal development here.
Exactly. Yeah, Mark loves his personal development stuff.
I do.
What one thing have you not done that you really want to do, and what's holding you back?
Bucket list.
Bucket list, yeah. Have you been the kind of friend you want as a friend? Ooh, that one kind of hits me in the heart there. Let's see. Has your greatest fear ever come true? Too much worry about nothing. Okay, now, Mark. Take your drink of water. Okay, now you're all set.
Off the air we were talking about how I get a ton of calls from people who are coming back to the market looking for 100% financing to do fix and flips, and I guess there's real estate gurus out there that are in a time warp, just arrived fresh from 2004, 2005, and they're back out there charging good money to people, telling them that they can still do 100% financing. And what's interesting is the conversation I end up getting in with these callers who do that. And so if you're a real estate investor and you're out there driving around on a Saturday afternoon listening to KKSF and you're listening to the Best of Investing, and you're a real estate investor wondering, okay, well, how do I get my hands on this capital? Because there is a tremendous amount of capital out there, but it's the 100% financing is really largely misunderstood because it's the financing, the way to buy real estate if you don't happen to have a ton of money in your bank account right now is, in my opinion, is to go out and find your own private money sources and then leverage that private money with a hard money loan from a company like Pacific Private Money. So
it would be like a couple of guys get together and form a little partnership and put the capital in and then come to you and say,
right. So OPM is still other people's money. OPM is still the way to really.
Thought it was
opium. Not
wait a minute. OPM wasn't he the guy in Andy Griffith? No, OPM. Okay.
So I've actually started doing talks. I've been invited to speak at events with the topic, how to attract private money, how to find private investors, and so and it's really quite interesting because there are places you can go and things you can do. And so what I generally tell people, let's say you're a real estate investor, maybe you've got experience, maybe you don't have a lot of experience, but it's a couple of components. One is, first of all, you need to have a credibility package put together on yourself. That's what we call it, a credibility package. It's basically a little bio on yourself. Any experience you have, you should spreadsheet it. If you've got before and after photos of any properties you've ever done. So if you're like, a lot of my callers are contractors and maybe they don't have a lot of capital right now, but they've done a lot of business, it's very easy for them to put together a little presentation of what they've done. And where you go with that is to the many, many, many real estate related events in the Bay Area. So for example, when I started my business 5 years ago, I did not have any private investors, nor did I have any borrower clients. I mean, I basically had to start from scratch, after the crash in the market, and go develop this idea for a private money loan origination company that I had. And so what I did is, I went to events like, for example, I met a ton of people who are now my private investors, private lenders, by going to IRA custodian-sponsored events on how to use your self-directed IRA to invest in real estate. So, for example, Pensco, P-E-N-S-C-O, Pensco is a San Francisco-based company that does a lot of events, and those events are attended by people with money looking to invest their money in either real estate or real estate secured notes.
And they need a specialized type of
right.
IRA
It's a great way to meet people. And so, really, what you want to do is you want to take your credibility package that you prepare on yourself, and you want to go to these events, and you want to network. It's really about networking. So another company is Entrust. They're based in the East Bay, E-N-T-R-U-S-T, Entrust. Google them, look them up, look at their website, check out their event schedule. Equity Trust is, they're based, I think they're in Ohio, but they do events in the Bay Area.
I think Iris Services.
Iris Services is another company, but I don't know if they're sponsoring events. I hope they are, because they're actually a very fast-growing company, and I think they're out of San Carlos. So, but go to these events. Look. There's a lot of meetup events also. If you go to Meetup, I guess it's meetup.com. There's a lot of real estate events that all over the Bay Area that are happening. So you really just want to start networking. I had to spend a lot of time, evenings and Saturdays, going to events to kind of put myself out there to meet people in order to get private investors for my hard money lending company. And so similarly, if you're a real estate investor and you want to find private equity, and again, there's just a ton of success stories about this. It is about going out and networking, and it's funny that you brought up all those interesting little phrases earlier at the beginning of the segment about personal development. Personal development, there's a lot to how you show up and present yourself. I'm very big on recommending to people that they be authentic and transparent in who they are, and show up. The real you is always the best you. So it's not about having to put on a persona or a mask and try to, convince somebody you're something that you're not.
Well, I was going to ask you, like, when people put that bio together, how important is it to you that spell check and make sure the grammar's correct? How much do you look into that?
I mean, they're looking for people to invest in something they're going to do as a project. I would.
You want to have a good
really
spreadsheet.
important.
You want to have accurate. I call the package that some of my investors have sent to me a shock and awe package, and I use that term because the guys who are really good at attracting capital, both capital from companies like mine and capital from private individual investors, have done a really good job of perfecting their little presentation. They'll use Microsoft Publisher to put together some nice flyers. They'll use Excel to put together very detailed spreadsheets of what they've done. And also, if you've got a property under contract, or you're looking at one and you hope to get it under contract, you spreadsheet your, why is this a good opportunity? What are you going to buy it for? What are your holding costs expected? Your turn time, your budget for improvements? What do you think the after repair value is going to be? In other words, you need to have a complete package that you're showing to an investor. If it's just a back of the napkin, I'm going to buy it for this, and I'm going to put this into it and sell it for that.
You don't recommend?
No.
You recommend like crayons and Elmer's glue? No, it doesn't work too well.
So there is the good news for anybody out there looking to attract capital is there is tons of capital out there, and people are clamoring for yield. And one of the best ways for anybody with capital to find yield is to invest it in some form of real estate, either through lending money to a real estate investor, or going into a joint venture with a real estate investor and buying, fixing, and flipping, being the money guy. So,
well, especially if you think that real estate is kind of at the low right now, like it's not going to fall off the cliff from this point
probably
forward.
not going to go much lower than it's gone. I mean, it could. I mean, there are things that could happen, but not a lot of people that I've spoken to are.
Everybody needs a place to live, so.
Yeah.
we'll see what-
Now, Mark, would you lend to people if there was an investor who wanted to have a secured second behind the property so that your loan was, the first loan was only 60 or 70%, but the total indebtedness would be 100%?
That's a great question, and that's actually a great way to put a deal together. So if you're a real estate investor out there and you have no capital, you come to someone like me for that first position money, the purchase money, maybe it's 65, 70%. You find somebody in your network that will go in with you, but they don't want to do it as an, just as a joint venture. Or
They
don't want-
they don't want their
Right,
name on it.
Right,
Yeah.
right, they don't want their name on the property, but they'll loan you the money in second position, and so I can help with that. We do actually a lot of documentation. We'll do the note and the deed of trust, and we'll help you make your investor comfortable with their second position financing, and that's actually a great suggestion. So a first-second combination that might equal 100% of the acquisition price plus rehab is very, very common in this market. In fact, there are groups out there that are doing what's called shared appreciation mortgage seconds, and they'll supply you with up to 90%, 95% in some cases of the money you need to buy a fix and flip.
So as long as
home.
the cash that they, well, if it's fix and flip, then they're not gonna get any income from it until the end. Hey guys, we are gonna have to cut out for the day, and here's our thoughts for the day. Why are wise men and wise guys the exact opposite? Ever think about that? And where do they get the seeds to plant seedless watermelons? Never could figure that one out either. Okay, tune in next week to The Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away 9 more free vacations for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. 3 seconds to spare.